Managed to ripple into 2 more, and the first one of the 2 has taken us into yet another one, so it's looking like this is going to be pretty promising for us. Today's video is sponsored by a good friend of the channel, Bootleg Greedo. And we've got a pretty good opener there. We've got 3 lands. It's just a very slow turn 3 Grim Tutor, I think. The deck is pretty much a load of Dragon's Approaches, Ramp and Shooters. We do want to get into Thrumming Stone so that we can take advantage of the Dragon's Approach and Ripple. Let's keep that. A turn 1 Mana Crypt from the partner player, and they go straight in for Ronus's Monument on turn 1 as well. So that makes their green spells, or green creature spells, cost less, and it's +2/+2 and trample on a creature whenever they cast any creature. Alright, another tutor for us is nice, so we need to be getting into ramp at this point. Probably go for ramp with the demonic tutor and then Thrumming Stone with the grim tutor. And then Dina, Soul Steeper, the first commander of the game, coming straight into play. And then on their second turn, a little bit less eventful, Accomplished Alchemist. Here's a new one from Strixhaven. Tap, add X mana of any one colour, where X is the amount of life you've gained this turn. So clearly they're after gaining a lot of life, which makes a lot of sense with this commander. Let's see what we draw into here. Alright, another land. I actually don't mind that, so we'll go Demonic Tutor. I was trying to work out if we should go for Mana Vault, or if we should just go straight in for the Sol Ring. We've got a turn 3 Grim Tutor. We could get down the Sol Ring and then go Grim Tutor. And then on turn 4 we would have 6 mana, so we still can't go Thrumming Stone straight into a Dragon's Approach, which I was hoping we could do. I don't want to leave Thrumming Stone lying around for a turn, really. So I think it makes more sense for us to just go for the Sol Ring more than anything. We're just going to have to leave the Thrumming Stone lying around for a turn and hope that it survives. The Rocky Tar Pit was cracked over here, and they went for a Sunken Hollow and a Thriving Bluff. And now the Golgari player going for Blood Artist. So still no means of actually draining their opponents, but putting their drain effects into play regardless. Then the second commander of the game coming into play, Tana the Blood Sower, and putting a buff on the Accomplished Alchemist. So that is a 4/7 with trample now. And no one getting into the red zone just yet, playing very conservatively and don't want to make any enemies seemingly. Another Dragon's Approach allows us into Sol Ring. Not going to play any Dragon's Approach until we show our opponents what it is that we're actually trying to do. So it's risky throwing down the Thrumming Stone here, or next turn even. We'll be throwing down the Thrumming Stone after we've tutored for it, but yeah, I don't think we have all that much of a choice if we want to get a win out as quickly as possible. And I suppose as well we'll have a chance to cast 2 Dragon's Approaches in case we whiff as well, so that's one upside of doing it this way. We've got 30 Dragon's Approaches in the deck, and this is the first time playing the deck, so I don't know if we need to up that or not. Let's grab ourselves the Thrumming Stone. A Sword of the Animus for Marquesa, and missing a land drop unfortunately. A 4th land coming down for the Golgari player though. And then, wow, that's a scary one. Merrin of Clan Nel Toth. But to be honest, I'm more worried about... yeah, we've got some red players and a green player. Or a couple of green players, so artifact removal might be quite heavy in these decks. They haven't pointed removal at the fast mana yet, so maybe they don't have any in hand. But anyway, a Goreclaw, Terror of Calcisma, coming into play, puts a buff on the Tana, and I assume they will swing in this time because they're going to want the tokens. Swinging in their commander towards the 3-colour Grixis player. That does of course land because they are tapped out over there, so getting 3 or 4 Saproling tokens even, not 3. And it's another land for us, so we'll just drop a swamp this time, and yeah, I think we are going for the Thrumming Stone. We've got means of pulling it out of the graveyard, but we obviously need to get into that, so I'd much rather that it survived a turn round the table. but everyone knows what Thrumming Stone does. And I assume they also know of the new card from Strixhaven, so they might know what our aim is here. We'll be able to afford a couple of Dragon's Approach from our hand next turn. And Dreadball went on to the Merrin of Clennell Toth from the Grixis player, so luckily didn't see any artifact removal there. I'm assuming that we're going to be going off next turn with a bit of luck. And Helm of the Host, we managed to dodge another player. Oh wow, and on turn 5 already getting into massive creatures. Trample Indestructible. Whenever another creature you control attacks, it gains Trample and Indestructible until the end of the turn. So unless there's a, is it Force of Vigour? The free one that destroys artifacts in green? Unless there's one of those, it looks like we're going to be doing alright this game. Still not swinging into us with anything, so not really concerned about the Thrumming Stone, seemingly. Both of these going in towards the Golgari player. And like I said, they do gain Trample and Indestructible. The Goreclaw, Terror of Kalsisma, will give a +1/+1 buff to the Tana. So a bunch more Saprolings to worry about here, but we have every intention of finishing the game at this point. On our turn 5, let's... we can pull a land out of the deck just so that we've got more chance of getting into a Dragon's Approach. I don't think it really makes that much of a difference. So here we go, Dragon's Approach. And for anyone who doesn't know, it is 3 damage to each opponent, and then we can exile it and 4 other cards named Dragon's Approach from our graveyard and search for a dragon, put it straight into play. And we can obviously run any number of these. So it is Ripple 4, and we'll see, we hit another one there. So all we have to do really is hit 1 from each Ripple, and every one that we cast straight from our deck will Ripple 4 as well. So we should be able to just bolt everyone to death here. And if we hit all 30 of our Dragon's Approaches, that will be, oh, what is that, 90 damage to everybody. Managed to ripple into 2 more, and the first one of the 2 has taken us into yet another one, so it's looking like this is going to be pretty promising for us. Revealed Drakuseth as well. We've actually only got 2 dragons in the deck, Drakuseth and Balefire Dragon, because Balefire Dragon can act as a board wipe for us for 1 player. We have 1 player scoop because they see the writing on the wall here. And another player scoops as well, which, you know, is fair enough. Apparently this is going to be a little exhibition match. I just built this deck and went into play with some randoms quickly because there was no patrons available. I play at stupid o'clock in the morning US time, or, well, depends on the time zone I suppose, but most of the people in the US that play with me, it's stupid o'clock for them, so had to jump on with some randoms here, and it's fair enough that they scooped to this. We've got them here at this point. Okay, and we actually whiff on our first one there. I was just counting through there. We've got 31 damage to do, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Hopefully a couple more from this Ripple, and we'll have our opponent here. And then just for the sake of showing you what you do here, we've got 4 in the bin now. So we exile 1 off the top, and that will actually still deal the damage, I think, but yeah, we'll go Drakuseth. Could maybe go for some dragons with haste, so that we can swing in straight away, but I assume that we're going to be winning most of our games just straight up with the Dragon's Approach. So the dragons aren't necessarily all that useful to us. So we got 1 more of the Dragon's Approaches there, and there is another one for us. So we'll just do that one, and that should be enough to take out our opponent here. We won't bother with the Ripple. Find our other dragon in Balefire Dragon. And there we go, managed to take our opponent out. So that damage is dealt to all of your opponents. So like I said, it was fair enough that the other 2 players scooped because they would have been taken out anyway. Big thank you to my other opponent who actually decided to play through it there. Very kind of him, or maybe he just walked away from the keyboard with yields on, I don't know. Anyway, just a quick one for you today, apparently. We only have 3 tutors in the deck and managed to get into 2 of them, so I'm not sure how big an indictment this is of how the deck will actually run. I imagine if I put Thrumming Stone out for a turn cycle against patrons, or players that run more removal, we wouldn't have had the Thrumming Stone stick there, and that would have given us a much harder time. Probably would have had to wait a few more turns to get a few more mana out, and then we could go Thrumming Stone into a Dragon's Approach and hope that we can chain off from there. If I get a chance to run it against the patrons at some point, then we'll see how it fares against them. If you want to see the deck again, then be sure to let me know. I'll run it against some patrons when they're available. If you want to see the deck list, then be sure to follow the link through to the deck list with the link in the description below. I'm tribalkai on the EDH channel. Thank you for watching.